today, and then we will jump right in. And today, like I said, we're going to talk about cause and effect and contrast, both. Okay? All right. Let's begin here with our warm-up. Here we go. Can everybody see it on the screen?
Yes.
Let me make it a little bit larger. There we go. Now the next one, we have an incomplete action, right? It says 4 or 5 months. So what can we say here?
They had been building.
I agree. They have been building a new bridge for the last 5 months. Have built, okay, but I prefer have been building. Why? Because the action is not finished yet.
Yeah.
It's an incomplete action. Now, the next one, we have to be careful. Look at the subject there. The subject is the food, right? So should we say do or are?
Are.
Right. So what foods are usually eaten? On Christmas in your country, what foods are usually eaten? Tamales, right? Always have tamales on Christmas time, right?
Yes.
Oh, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Tomomi doesn't have tamales on Christmas time. Jareen doesn't have tamales on Christmas time, but I think Latino people do. All right. Let's see. The next one says, at the market on my way home after class tonight.
I will stop.
We'll stop, or I'm going to stop. Right? Future action. Now the next one, we have a conditional, right? We just talked about conditionals, didn't we? What do we have over here? We have will. So what can we say? If the vendor
doesn't
sell, right? If the vendor doesn't sell more hot dogs, he will be fired. All right. The next one looks like an action in progress right now. So what can we say for that one? Mr. Allen is buying. Sure, nothing fancy there. Now the next one, we have to look carefully at the second part of the sentence, right? What does it say? By the time I
had already sent.
Exactly. I had already sent the letter by the time I got home. Had already sent. Had already sent. All right. The next one is about yesterday. So what can we say here? Who did Jack talk to yesterday? Who did Jack talk to yesterday? Did talk. The next one says for the last 10 years. Action
has been teaching.
Has been teaching. I like that. Or has taught, right? Remember when you have a regular repeated action like teaching a class? You can use both. Has taught the Spanish class for 10 years, has been teaching the Spanish class for 10 years. Number 9 is past but negative. Past and negative. What can we say for a negative in the past?
Didn't come.
Didn't come, sure. Nothing fancy there, just good old didn't. Number 10, where after she finishes her school. After she finishes her school, that's a present tense time clause, so it must be a future time, right?
Yeah. Where will Mary live?
Exactly. Where will Mary live after she finishes school? Always. What can we say with always? Jack always
Finishes.
Oops.
Finishes.
Jack always finishes his homework before the class, in general. All right. Now the next one, again, let's look at our subject here. The plans for the house. The plans for the house. And over here we have that keyword buy, right? So what do we say? Aha, passive, right? So what are we going to say? The plans for the house
will be made.
will be made. Right? The plans for the house will be made by my architect next week. Will be made. Future, passive. Future, passive. Now the next one we have to read again very carefully. What does it say at the end? Before last summer. So should we say has or had?
Had.
Exactly. That's
Had
past
never
perfect.
been.
Had never been. Barry had never been to Baltimore before last summer. Last summer he went, but before last summer he had never been there. Right? Remember, when you have past perfect, you always have two past times. Last summer and before last summer. Last summer, simple past. Before last summer, past perfect. The next one says, not very well for last week's exam. The exam is last week. So what can we say there?
Well, didn't prepare.
Didn't prepare, sure. Walter didn't prepare very well for last week's exam. The next one says, the clerk of the store during the robbery last night.
Should.
Well, let's think about it.
It's referred to the clerk of the store.
Who is the victim here?
The clerk.
The clerk is the victim. So the robber shot the clerk, right? So the clerk
Was shot.
Was shot. Exactly. Passive. Was shot during the robbery last night. The next one says since January. Since January sounds like present perfect continuous to me, huh?
Yes.
Been working.
Has been
working.
Now the next one says until next year's models come out. Until next year. So not until next year.
Round one by.
Won't buy. Won't buy or isn't going to buy. Oops. Right? He's waiting for the new models. He isn't going to buy a car until the new models come out. The next one, as soon as, this one was, we had a lesson in level 4 on this one. As soon as plus what kind of verb? Simple present.
Simple present.
Completes.
As soon as Bob completes his work, he's going to go home. The next one is about your last party. So how many people
Did you invite?
Simple past. The next one, again, look at the subject. The subject is the sports. So what should we say? Should we say played or were played?
Were played.
Were played, right. Past tense, passive. Past tense, passive. Of course it's past tense because it says 19th century. That's 200 years ago. So what kind of sports were played in the 19th century? Were played. All right. 21. The class, when I arrived last night.
The class
had
already
begun. The class had already begun when I arrived last night. I was late. The class had already begun. Past perfect again there. All right. The next one looks like a question about somebody's belief. So should we say, are you, do you, have you? What do you like?
Do you believe?
Do you believe?
Do you believe in extraterrestrials? E.T. Let's see. The next one, we have a be verb, and it's a past tense. So where
How are
Were
you?
you?
Where?
Where were you?
Where
Where were you? Very good. Okay. After. After what? After I
I
Get
get up. Again, we have a time clause with a simple present verb. And finally, we have that word while. What do we want with while?
was studying.
Was studying. Past continuous. All right. Everybody happy?
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. Why not? All right. Very good. Okay. So, as I said, today I want to talk about the 4 different types of connections in English, both with cause and effect and with contrast. Cause and effect and contrast. But it really doesn't matter. Connectors are going to be the same no matter what kind of a sentence you have. You only have 4 choices no matter what. If it's a time connector, a cause and effect connector, a conditional connector, any kind of connector, you have 4 choices. And again, the one that you choose kind of depends on what you're trying to say with your sentence. Right? Sometimes it's better to use a little conjunction in the middle of your sentence. Sometimes it's better to use a longer transition word and have 2 separate sentences. Sometimes it's better to use a clause connector in the front. Sometimes it's better to use a what's the one I didn't mention? A preposition, especially if you have something that's a very common noun. So it all depends on the situation. So I can't say this one is always best and this one's always best. It says a good writer will use all 4. And sometimes I'll use a conjunction, and sometimes I'll use a preposition, and sometimes I'll use a clause connector. And if I mix them up, my writing is going to be more interesting to read, right? The big difference between beginning writing and intermediate and advanced writing is how we connect the ideas, right? Beginning writing tends to be all very short sentences, right? This morning I woke up at 6:30. Punto. I ate breakfast. Punto. I took a shower. Punto. I got dressed. Punto. I went to the store. Punto. I bought my groceries. Punto. I came home. Punto. I put the groceries away. Punto. Right? That's an okay sentence. That if somebody wrote me that paragraph, I'd say, yeah, okay, it's fine. But it has no connections, right? It's just a bunch of sentences together, one after the other. What would make it interesting is if there were connections, right? So you say, well, when I woke up, I was hungry, so I ate breakfast. After my breakfast, I took a shower. Then I looked in my cabinets and I saw I didn't have any groceries. Because of this, I decided to go to the store, etc., etc., etc. You see, that's a much more interesting story. It's the same story, but it's more interesting because there's variety in it. And that's what we want to work for. Okay? No problems? No problems. All right. Let us begin. I'm going to first show you a little presentation, and then we're going to practice a little bit. My presentation today is about the cause and effect connectors, but I'm going to compare it with the contrast connectors after that. All right, and you've been working on this a little bit with Ms. Aguirre already, so this should be somewhat familiar to you. All right, so let me share my screen here. There we go. And let me. There we go. All right, can everybody see the screen? Cause and effect, combining ideas?
Yes.
Everybody see that? Okay, good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and for a few minutes turn off everybody's microphone. so we can have a nice quiet time while we listen. There you go. Oops, there we go. All right, all the mics are off, so we can have a nice quiet presentation, and then we'll practice more in a minute. All right, cause and effect. Let's talk about it. Cause and effect. In English, there are various strategies to combine a cause with its effect. Because of the coronavirus, many people have lost their jobs. There's a preposition, right? Because of. Since I'm not a citizen, I can't vote. There's a clause connector. Since. We didn't have a map, period. Consequently, we got lost. That's a transition word. Becky is a nurse, comma, so she knows a lot about health, right? Each one of these is a little bit different. The meaning is the same. We have a cause, we have an effect, but the grammar is just a little bit different. And that's why these are tricky, because you have to keep in mind the grammar you're using, because the meaning is basically the same, right? So and consequently mean the same thing. What's the difference? The grammar, the punctuation, the capital letters, etc. So that's why it's a little bit tricky. So let's look at these one by one. All right, in English, there are basically 4 ways to combine 2 ideas. There are clause connectors. Because and since are 2 examples. There are more, and we're going to talk about the contrast ones in just a minute. But first, a clause connector. A preposition, like because of and due to. So, which is a conjunction. And transition words like therefore or consequently, right? They're each just a little bit different, but these are the 4 strategies we have. These are the 4 ways. And it doesn't matter if it's time or contrast or cause and effect, it's all going to be the same. These are your 4 choices. There are no other choices in English. You can have a clause connector, a preposition, a conjunction, or a transition when you want to combine 2 things, right? The one you choose is going to depend on the sentence, but let's look at them one by one. Each connector requires slightly different grammar. There's my little note there, as I said. All right, let's start with the clause connector. Clause connector is probably the most common of all of these. There are many, 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 many clause connectors in English. Maybe 50, right? There's lots of different clause connectors. There's time clause connectors, there's cause and effect, there's contrast, there's lots of them. The most common way to connect ideas in English is with a clause connector. They can be either at the beginning or in the middle of a sentence. Each of the parts of the sentence must include the subject and the verb. That's important, right? This is not true in some languages. In some languages, you can have a clause connector and then a verb. Can't do that in English. Got to have a subject and a verb. The key words for cause and effect are since and because. Example, because you worked hard, the boss is going to give you a day off tomorrow. Notice I have because out there in the first position, and I have a comma after the initial clause. Or I can put the because clause in the second position with no comma. Since I paid in cash, comma, I got a discount on my purchase. I got a discount on my purchase since I paid in cash. Again, if I put since in the first position, I need that comma. If I put since in the second position, I want to have no comma. right? Notice I need a comma if I begin the sentence with the connector, right? If you have your clause first, I need a comma. But again, since and because are both clause connectors, so I need a subject and a verb. You worked. I paid. Subject and verb. That's why we call it a clause connector. Remember, in English, a clause has one subject and one verb. That's what a clause is, a subject and a verb. So these are called clause connectors. So we have subject and verb, subject and verb. All right. Prepositions are almost the same, but we don't have a clause. What do we have? A noun or a gerund. A noun or a gerund, mostly a noun. Right? Like clause connectors, prepositions can be either at the beginning or the middle of the sentence. However, the preposition is only used with a noun or a gerund, but usually not gerund. Keywords: because of and due to. Because of the bad weather, the picnic was canceled. Right? Notice what I have here. Bad weather. Is that a subject and a verb? No. It's a noun and an adjective. Bad is an adjective. Weather is a noun. So there's no verb here. There's just an adjective and a noun. But notice the rule about the commas. Same story with the commas, right? If I put because of first, I need a comma. If I have because of in the middle, no comma is necessary. Due to the traffic, comma, I was late for my job interview. Again, what do I have here? Due to noun. Or I was late for my job interview due to the traffic. Due to noun. Notice again, I need commas if I begin with the prepositions, right? Prepositions in the first position, I need a comma. Prepositions in the second position, no comma necessary. Conjunctions. What's a conjunction in English? The little words. And in this class, we have studied the paired conjunctions, right? Not only, but also. Either, or. Neither, nor. Both, and. Right? The conjunction are those little words. Remember, there are 7 of them. We had a lesson about conjunctions, didn't we? What were the conjunctions? For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Remember fanboys? We had that little lesson. Oh, that was way back in April. That was like one of our first lessons we had. But the conjunction we're focused on with cause and effect is so. And it's always used in the middle of a sentence and usually after a comma, unless the sentence is very, very short. So, example, I'm very busy today, comma, so I can't go to English class. I took the medicine regularly, comma, so I started to feel better. Next Monday will be a holiday, comma, so I don't have to go to work. Again, clause, comma, so, clause. So there's 2 clauses here. Right, there's person taking it easy. That'll be me in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'll be taking it easy. We're not there yet. 2 more weeks to go. All right, transition. What is the transition? The transition is a bigger word. Remember, the conjunction is little words, 2 letters, 3 letters. Transition is a bigger word, but it serves the same purpose. Like conjunctions, transitions are always between the cause and the effect. However, The transition is only used after a period. We usually use transitions to combine longer ideas. Example, therefore or consequently. There is a citywide quarantine in effect for the next few weeks. Therefore, all English classes must be online. Two separate sentences. Two separate sentences. Victor worked hard, came in early, and did excellent work. Consequently, the boss gave him a raise and a promotion. Two separate sentences with a period and a capital letter. A period and a capital letter. There's Victor right there. Good, hard-working guy. All right, the end. You came to class today, so now you understand cause and effect. Because you understand cause and effect, your English will be better. I hope. I hope. All right, let me stop the share for a second. And let me turn on your microphones. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back. Here we are. All right. So let's practice cause and effect a little bit, and then we'll compare it to the contrast. So we have 7 connectors that we just learned about, right?
Mhm.
Two clause connectors, since and because. 2 prepositions, due to and because of. 2 transitions, consequently and therefore, and 1 conjunction, so. All right. So I'm gonna say a sentence, and then I'm gonna give you a different connector, and I want you to make the sentence in a different way. Okay? So let me give you an example. If I say, I was sick, so I stayed in bed. All right? And I say it with because. Well, how do you say that with because?
Because I am sick.
Because I am sick,
I
So
I stayed in bed. Right? Okay, everybody got the idea?
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Let's start with Alejandra. Alejandra, let's see. There was a traffic jam, so I was late for work. Say that with due to.
Due to the traffic, what is the other sentence?
I was late for work.
I was late for work.
Right, due to the traffic, I was late for work. You see what Alejandra did there? She changed there was a lot of traffic to the noun, traffic. Right, due to the traffic, I was late for work. Okay, let's see. Tomomi. How about due to bad planning, the party was a disaster. Due to bad planning, the party was a disaster. Say with consequently. Due to bad planning, the party was a disaster.
It's a long sentence.
Due to bad planning, the party was a disaster.
Bad planning, consequently,
Uh-huh.
the party
Was a disaster.
yeah.
Yeah.
Party was
So,
disaster.
yeah. So you could say we had bad planning or we planned badly. Mm-hmm. We planned badly, period. Consequently, the party was a disaster. All right. Jenny, where are you? How about let's see. I went home because I was tired. Say that with so. I went home because I was tired. Say with so.
So I took a long walk. I went home. I'm tired.
No, but don't give me anything new.
Oh,
Those two ideas, right?
uh-huh.
I went home because I was tired, right? Two ideas. So combine them, the same two ideas, but use so.
I went home.
I was tired.
I was tired.
So
So I have a long walk.
I went home, right? So I went home, right?
So I was very tired. So I went home.
Right. I was very tired, comma. So I went home. Good. Let's see. Cecilia. Let's see. Let's see. Houses are very expensive. Therefore, I can't buy one. Say it with because.
Because of.
No, because. Houses are very expensive. Therefore, I can't buy one. Say with because.
Can you repeat it, please?
Houses are very expensive. Therefore, I can't buy one. And I want you to change that idea, but say it with because. Anybody have an idea on that one?
No, right now, no.
Can you repeat again, please?
Because the
Houses are
house,
very expensive. Therefore, I can't buy one.
Because
because the
expensive.
house
Because houses are very expensive.
is expensive,
Mm.
I can buy it.
I can't buy one.
It.
Right. Yeah, because houses are very expensive, I can't buy it. Right. Because is a clause connector. Put it in the front with the cause, right? All right, Jareen.
Yes.
Let's see. How about because of a headache, I couldn't concentrate. And I want you to say that with so.
Again, please, like a sentence.
Because of a headache, I couldn't concentrate.
I couldn't concentrate, so I was.
Don't forget the headache. Right. So start with the cause. Right. What's the cause? The headache. Right. So what can you say? I had a headache.
I had a headache, so.
So okay, what happened? I couldn't
pay attention or what? So I forgot the sentence.
Because you say
we need some memory pills here.
No, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. My sentence was, I say too fast, maybe. Okay. All right.
No,
yeah, you say fast.
Okay, one more time. Let's listen one more time. Right? Because of a headache, I couldn't concentrate. Okay. Now I want you to say that with so. I had a headache.
So I couldn't
concentrate. There
right?
we go. I had a headache, so I couldn't concentrate. Okay, good. All right, Maria Polito.
Yes.
Let's see. I lost my cell phone, so I have to buy a new one. I want you to say that with consequently.
I buy a cell phone because I lost my cell.
But I want you to use consequently.
Okay. I
lost my cell phone.
lost my cell phone, and consequently, I have to buy another one.
And consequently, I had to buy another one, right? I lost my cell phone, period. Consequently, I had to buy another one. Okay, Mateo, are you ready?
Yes.
The game was very exciting, so the stadium was very noisy. The game was very exciting, so the stadium was very noisy. I want you to say that with because.
Because the game is very excited, the stadium is very noisy.
Very good, very good. All right, let's see if we can do this in a little bit easier way, hopefully. All right, so let's look at this together now. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, remember this is the strategies we're going to use. We have because, cause, therefore effect, and we have that little comma there, right? Or we could put because in the middle with no comma. And since is the same thing. If I put since in the first position, I use a comma. I'm going to send you this paper so you don't need to go crazy trying to copy all this down. And here we have since in this position, no comma is necessary, right? Because of, but what's the big difference between because and because of? Because with a clause, because of noun, right? Due to noun, because of noun, right? But the rules for the commas are the same. Comma if it's first, no comma in the middle. And then we have the three that are always in the middle. Cause, comma, so effect, cause, period, therefore effect, cause, consequently, therefore effect. Okay? All right. Now here I have some causes and effects, and let's see if we can try this again. But this time they're written down so everybody can see them. So hopefully it'll be easier here. All right. Let's see. Let's start with Alejandra. You see the first cause and the first effect, right? The first cause is the earthquake. The first effect is many homes were damaged. Can you say that with due to?
Okay. The first or any?
No, the first one.
Okay.
The first one, this one here.
Okay. Because of a horrible earthquake, many homes were damaged.
Okay, because of a horrible earthquake, many homes were damaged. Very good. All right. Let's see. Jareen, how about this one? Can you use so in this one?
Yeah. The traffic was bad, so I was late to the meeting.
Very good. All right. All right. How about this one, Mateo? Can you use consequently? Mateo, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. You see the one I have highlighted? Can you use that, make a sentence with consequently?
It was a hard work. Consequently, Jack got a rise.
Very good. Very good. He was a hard worker, period. Consequently, Jake got a raise. Excellent. All right. Let's try this one. Let's see. How about Cecilia for this one? Cecilia, can you, now we have computer problems. That's a noun. Should we use because or because of in this case?
Because of.
Because of, right. So can you make a sentence?
Because of computer problem, I wasn't able to join the Zoom lesson.
Very good. Because of computer problems, I wasn't able to join the Zoom lesson. All right, good. All right, broken leg. Let's see. Why don't we have, let's see, who else do I have in the class still? Let's see, who haven't I called yet? Maria Polito.
Yes.
Do you want to use, for broken leg, do you want to use due to or since?
Due to.
Due to, right. So can you make a sentence?
Okay. Due to broken leg, Jeff couldn't play basketball.
Due to a broken leg, Jeff couldn't play basketball. Very good. All right. Tomomi, how about the next one here? Mr. Robbins had a bad cough. Mr. Robbins stayed home. Could we use therefore?
Mr. Robbins had a bad cough. Therefore, Mr. Robbins stayed home.
Very good. Okay. And he has a very stressful job. Peter has many headaches. Let's see. Who haven't I called yet? Cecilia, have I called you yet?
Jenny.
Oh, Jenny went home.
Oh,
Let's see. Maybe let's try Jareen one more time. Jareen, can you use since in this one?
He has a very stressful job since Peter has many head. No, need to be.
The other way around, right?
Yeah. Peter has many head
Mhm.
ache since he has really stressful job.
Right. Peter has many headaches since he has a very stressful job. Okay, good job. Good job, everybody. Okay. And let me make a little copy of this paper, and I'm going to send it to you in your app so you have it with you.
okay, thank you.
All right, let's see. Okay, I'm going to put that on the desktop, save it. Okay, so you'll be able to, I'll send that to you right after the class is over.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Now, let me go to the board for a second and look at the partners when we have contrast. All right, so let's look at them side by side. Cause and effect, we just talked about that, right? We have our clause connectors. And we have our prepositions. And we have our conjunctions. And we have our transitions. Okay, so remember, our clause connectors are since and because, right? Our prepositions are due to and because of. Our conjunctions are only one, so. And our transitions are therefore and consequently. All right. No problem? All right. Now, let's look at these same things with contrast. All right. What about clause connectors for contrast? Well, there are a few extras that we can have. We can have although, even though, whereas, and while. Have you talked about whereas and while with Miss Aguirre?
Yes.
Yes, you
Yes,
have.
sir.
Good. But remember, all of these in this first line, these four are all what we call clause connectors. So what do we need? A subject and a verb, right? Prepositions are going to be despite and in spite of. Conjunctions, only one choice. Again, we're going to use that conjunction, but. And transitions, we can use however, we can use nevertheless, we can use on the other hand. All right, so we have a few more options when we have contrasts. All right, give you a second to write all of these words down. So let's remember the rules. Clause connector means what? It means always a subject and
Subject and
always
verb.
a verb.
Mhm.
Prepositions mean what? Always a noun, right? Conjunctions, what does that mean? Always in the middle, always after a comma, right? And transitions are also in the middle between the cause and the effect, but after a period or a semicolon, right? All that sound familiar?
Yes.
Más o menos, right? Más o menos.
Mhm.
Okay, so good. Let's practice this a little bit together. All right, stop my share here. Okay. Today I have my magical hat. In this hat, I have many papers. Each paper has a connector on it. Some are transitions, some are conjunctions, some are clause connectors. And what's our job going to be? We're going to try to make a sentence using the subject and the verb with each. Okay? So let's take two ideas. Okay? Let's make this very simple so we can concentrate on the connectors. Let's make it very simple. Let's have the cause be cold weather or nice weather, cold weather or nice weather. And then the effect, we went to the beach, we didn't go to the beach. Okay?
Mhm.
So you're going to connect the two ideas. Let me give you an example. I have consequently, spelled very badly, but there's consequently. Right, can you see that, consequently?
Yes.
There it is,
Yes.
consequently. All right, so I say, for example, the weather was very bad. Consequently, we didn't go to the beach. Or the weather was very good. Consequently, we went to the beach. Okay? All right. All right, everybody got the idea?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's start with Mateo. Mateo, are you ready?
Yes.
How about because of? Because of.
Mm, Because of I have a lot of work.
No, let's stay with the two ideas of the weather and going to the beach.
Oh, okay. Because the the weather
But
is
because of
cold. Because of
cold weather,
cold weather, I can go to
I
the
didn't.
beach.
I didn't go to the beach.
I
right.
didn't go to the beach.
Right. Because of cold weather, I didn't go to the beach. Very good. All right. Alejandra, how about
Okay.
in spite of?
Little web need to like turn around paper because we cannot see.
Oh, can you see this?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's better?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It looks good to me
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this,
you,
but,
yeah,
but it
yeah.
looks good to
I
you
don't
like
know.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The camera is backwards for me. Okay, there we go. In spite of. Everybody can see
Okay.
that? In spite of. Okay.
Okay. In spite of nice weather, I could go to do exercise, so I could
Go to the beach.
I went to the beach. Let's,
go
let's stay with the beach, right? So in
Okay.
spite of cold weather, I went to the beach. In spite of cold weather, I went to the beach. All right. Tomomi, how about even though?
Even though it was cold weather,
Mhm.
I went to the beach.
Yeah, even though the weather was cold, I went to the beach. Or even though there was cold weather, I went to the beach. Good. All right, Maria Polito, are you ready?
Yes.
What about therefore?
Okay. The weather is cold and therefore I can go to the beach.
I can't go to the beach, right? The weather's cold, therefore I can't go to the beach. All right. How about since, Jareen?
I no. The weather is cold since I went to the beach.
Other way, maybe, right?
Maybe the weather was
So since the weather is cold,
since
I went
the
to the
weather
beach
was
or I
nice.
stayed home.
Can I stay home?
I stayed home. Yeah, you can stay home. Yeah, stay home. Okay, yeah. So since the weather is cold, I stayed home.
Mhm.
Or since the weather is nice, I went to the beach. Right? Either way, cause and effect, right? Okay, Cecilia. What about the word but?
No, the weather is is nice, but I went to the beach. No,
Now, does that make
No,
sense? But there,
no.
but the weather is nice,
the weather's nice, but
I did not.
but
I stayed home, right?
Mhm.
I still,
Yeah, or the
Or I
weather
did not
was,
go,
yeah, the weather was cold,
but I
but
went to the beach.
I went to the beach anyway, right?
Mhm.
Right? It's always going to be a contrast with but, right? Okay, let's see. What about despite? Despite. Let's see. Tomomi, try despite.
Despite the cold weather, I went to the beach.
Despite the cold weather, I went to the beach. Okay, let's see. What about Alejandra? Because.
because the weather is bad, I can go to the beach.
Yeah, I couldn't go to the beach because the weather was bad. I couldn't go to the beach. All right. Mateo, how about so?
The weather is bad, so I can go to the beach.
The weather's bad, so I can't go to the beach. Good. Maria Polito, what about although? You see, I wrote these very fast. They're very bad. I need to write more carefully. I was 5 minutes before the class and I wrote very fast.
Okay. Although the weather is bad, I can go to the beach.
I can or I can't.
I can't.
But if it's although, it would be I can, right?
I can,
I
yeah.
went to the
Opposite,
beach.
yeah.
I went to the
yes.
beach, right? So although the weather was cold, I went to the beach.
I went to
Contrast,
the beach.
contrast,
Okay.
right? All right, good.
Yes.
All right. Let's try this one. Says nevertheless. Jareen, try nevertheless.
The bad weather. We can do the bad weather. Nevertheless,
But we need a subject and a verb. So the weather was bad.
the weather was bad. Nevertheless, I did not go to the beach. Or I went to the beach. I never used the nevertheless, so I do not know.
Okay, so nevertheless is just like however, right? Nevertheless is just like
okay.
however. So you say the weather was bad. Nevertheless,
I went to the beach.
nevertheless, I went to the beach.
Mhm.
Excellent. Okay, good. All right, and let's see. Cecilia, what about due to?
Okay, sure. The due to the weather is bad.
Well, we want to use a noun here, so we're going to say due to bad weather, right?
Due to bad weather, I can't go to the beach.
I can't go to the beach, right? Due to bad weather, I can't go to the beach. I didn't go. And finally, Mateo, how about however?
However,
Mhm.
okay. The weather is good in California. However, Texas is bad.
No, we can do like however
Let's
the
stay
good
with the
weather.
beach. Weather in California, or the weather today is very bad. However,
Went to the beach.
I went to the beach. Right. Okay. Más o menos? A little bit?
Menos.
Okay. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and that is using, comparison and contrast. So let me go to the board a second. Now remember, we've already talked about making comparisons and contrast, haven't we? Let me show, right? This is what we call direct comparisons. Right? And a direct comparison will be when you're comparing two things. So for example, you could say, I like pizza and my brother does too. You remember this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this earlier in the semester. And the contrast would be, for example, I like pizza, but my sister doesn't, right? So what are we using in these two comparisons? What are we using? What is this kind of connector?
Preposition.
I like it.
Which of these four is this?
I like pizza.
And but. Is it a clause connector, a preposition, a conjunction, or a transition?
Conjunction.
Conjunction, yay, bravo, bravo. It's a conjunction because it's in the middle of the sentence and it's after a comma, right? Now, we can use these other kind of connectors to make these comparisons too. So for example, I can make a preposition. Like me, my, let me do it this way. Instead of like my brother, Oops. I like pizza. Or, unlike my sister, I like pizza. Right? Like and unlike are prepositions. Like and unlike are prepositions. So here we have conjunctions, and but. Here we have prepositions, like and unlike. We can also use a clause connector. Although sorry, not although, let's see. Just as I like pizza, my brother likes it too. Just as I like pizza, my brother likes it too. That's a clause connector. Or, although I like pizza, my sister doesn't. Oops, although, no T. Okay, that's our clause connectors. Just as, although.
It just add the same meaning with like, right? Just add.
Right. Except like is a preposition and just as is a clause connector. Yeah, a good way to, it's very tricky, like and as in English. But just think of it in this way, right? Like is a preposition, as is a clause connector. So just as I like pizza, my brother likes pizza too. So you see what I have? A subject and a verb.
Mhm.
What do I have here? Only a noun. But it's the same thing. All right. And finally, I can use a transition. I like pizza. Right? A transition could be a word like similarly. Right? I like pizza. Similarly, my brother does too. My brother likes it too. Or I like pizza. On the other hand, my sister doesn't. These are what we call direct comparisons or direct contrasts, where we compare two people. Right? It's not cause and effect. It has nothing to do with cause and effect. I'm just saying, how are these two things similar? How are they different? Remember, we wrote a couple weeks ago our similarity and differences story, right? We could have used any of these when we make that kind of statement, right? When something is the same, I can say, and, like, just as, similarly. All right. If something is different, I can say, but, unlike, although, or on the other hand. Right? So they're all, so this first one here is conjunction,
Conjunctions.
right? That's a conjunction. What does that mean? Middle of the sentence after the comma.
Mhm.
The second one is a
Preposition.
preposition. What's that? with a noun. And I could say, I could remember with prepositions, I can put it in the second position too. So you can say, I like pizza, unlike my sister. What
Yeah,
are
I
the-
put in the middle the preposition,
No comma, right?
no comma, okay.
Yeah, so you can write that two ways. And this next one you can write two ways too, the clause connector. The clause connector. So I could say, my brother likes pizza just as I do. My brother likes pizza just as I do. Or my sister doesn't like pizza, although I do. Those are clause connectors. And the last group is what? That's a transition. Technically, a transition is an adverb, but I like to call it a transition so we can keep it separate. All right. No problems? Do you need time to write this down or you got it?
I will lie down.
Need a little time?
Yes.
So while people are writing, let's make some comparisons here. Let's see. Let's compare. Let me ask two questions and then we'll make some comparisons. Let's see. Tomomi,
Yeah.
do you have any pets?
No, I don't.
Alejandra, do you have any pets?
No,
No. Okay. So it's the same or is it different?
it's the same.
Deep. Oh, yes.
It's the same, right? They both
Same.
don't have pets. So what can we say? How could we say it with a conjunction?
Tomomi
Tomomi doesn't have
doesn't
pets.
Tomomi doesn't
have
have a pet,
dog.
and Alejandra
And
doesn't.
Alejandra doesn't
Doesn't
either,
too.
right?
Uh-huh.
Right. Tomomi doesn't have pets and Alejandra doesn't either, right? How could you say with the preposition?
Sería
Despite.
like to
Like.
mommy, that
So you say
Like
like
Tomomi and
Tomomi, Alejandra doesn't have any
Alejandra
pets,
doesn't have pet.
right? Like Tomomi, Alejandra doesn't have any pets. How could you say it with a clause connector?
Just as
that as
As Tomomi
Tomomi doesn't
have
Just
pet.
as Tomomi doesn't have pets,
Alejandra
Alejandra doesn't have
Alejandra
doesn't either.
either.
too.
doesn't like to.
Doesn't have them either, right? Just as Tomomi doesn't have any pets, Alejandra doesn't have any pets either. All right, and a transition.
Tomomi doesn't have
Tomomi doesn't have
Tomomi
pets.
does
That's it.
it.
On the
Similarly,
other hand,
Similarly,
Alejandra
Similarly.
Alejandra
doesn't
does it too.
doesn't eat either.
Okay, so similarly, Alejandra doesn't either. All right, let's try a contrast. Tomomi, what language do you speak the best?
Japanese.
Alejandra, what language do you speak?
Spanish.
Spanish. Okay. Okay, so what can we say? Tomomi
Tomomi
Speak.
speaks
Mommy
Japanese.
speaks Japanese,
Miss
But
well Japanese.
Alejandra
and
doesn't.
On the other
speaks
hand,
speak
Spanish.
Spanish.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So Tomomi speaks Japanese, comma, but Alejandra speaks Spanish.
Mhm.
All right. All right. What could we say with unlike? How would we say that? Unlike Tomomi,
Like
Tomomi
Alejandra
speak
Alejandra
Alejandra
speaks
speaks
Spanish.
Spanish.
Unlike Tomomi, Alejandra speaks Spanish. What about with although?
although Tomomi
although
speaks
Tomomi
Although
Japanese.
Tomomi speaks Japanese, Alejandra
Alejandra speaks
Alejandra
Spanish.
speaks Spanish. And what about on the other hand?
Tomomi
Tomomi
speaks Spanish.
Japanese.
Is
On the other hand,
On the
Alejandra
other hand,
Alejandra
speaks
speaks
Alejandra
Spanish.
Spanish.
Alejandra
Spanish.
Mhm.
Okay, good. Do we feel a little bit better? Does everybody have it copied down?
Yes, and this and direct comparison only compare two person or
Well, it
two
could be
things.
two countries or two sports or two, but what you're comparing are similarities and differences. It's not cause and effect.
Mhm.
You see what I mean?
Yes.
So for example, remember we could use although, but we could also use while here too, right? Well, I like pizza, my sister doesn't, right? Or whereas. Yeah, when you use on the other hand, while, whereas, it's not it's a contrast, but it's not a contrast of cause and effect, right? So for example, you would not say, whereas it was cold, I went to the beach. That doesn't make sense, right? It was cold, on the other hand, I went to the beach. That doesn't make sense. You see what I mean? I have to compare two things, right? I say, it rains a lot in Japan in summertime. On the other hand, it doesn't rain very much in California in the summer, right? I'm comparing two equal things. I'm not comparing a cause and an effect, right?
Whereas and while and on the other hand.
Whereas, while, on the other hand, those are for direct contrasts.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's practice this a little bit before we're done today. Let me go to a new share here. Let me stop this share and go to a new paper if I can find the paper. There it is. Okay. All right. Can everybody see these words?
Yes.
All right. We talked about most of these. The only one I think we didn't talk about were these two. In the same way and likewise. In the same way and likewise are the same as similarly. They're transitions. And they're both for things that are the same, right? So what do we have here? We have these two are conjunctions, right? These next group are clause connectors. Over here, prepositions. And on the bottom row, transitions. When we're making direct comparisons between two people, two things, two cars, two books, whatever. All right, so let's see if we can make some sentences here and put in the correct word. All right, can everybody see the paper?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let me see here. Okay, the first one says, apples, oranges grow on trees. Is it a similarity or a difference?
Similarity.
Similar.
You have apple trees and orange trees, right? So what word could I use?
Like.
Like.
Exactly. Like apples, oranges grow on trees. Like apples, oranges grow on trees. All right. Victor works hard every day. His brother is lazy. Is that a contrast or a comparison? Similar or different?
Different.
Different. So what can we say?
On the other hand.
On the other hand,
other
that sounds
hand.
good. On the other hand, on the other hand, right? Victor works hard every day. On the other hand, his brother is very lazy. We have a period here, so we want to use a transition word. We could say however, we could say on the other hand. All right, the next one. Peter likes sports. Henry is more interested in movies. Is this a similarity or a difference?
Different.
A difference.
Difference.
Okay. So what can we say with a difference?
Why?
While, sure. While or whereas, both would be fine. While Peter likes sports, Henry is more interested in movies. Whereas Peter likes sports, Henry is more interested in movies. All right. The next one, our house has a big yard. Our neighbor's yard is large too. Okay. Is it similar or different?
Similar.
Similar.
Similar. So what can we say in this case? We have a period.
In the same way.
In the same way, we could use any of these three, right?
Similarly.
Similarly, in the same way, or likewise. I'll put down likewise. But similarly is good, in the same way is good, likewise is good. All right. The next one says, Americans, Japanese people usually eat with chopsticks. That's true. All right. So we have Americans, that's a noun. And is it a similar or a difference?
Similar.
Similar.
Using chopsticks? Do we use chopsticks
Right.
usually in America?
No.
But
No,
some
usually we
people
use a
now-
fork. No, some people, yeah. If you go to the sushi restaurant,
My
okay.
boy.
Okay. Okay, but typically,
Right,
if,
it's a difference.
if you're having a normal lunch at home, you'll use a fork and a knife and a spoon, right? So what can we say?
Unlike.
Unlike, right? Remember the difference between unlike and dislike, right? Unlike is a preposition. Dislike is a verb, right? You say, oh, I dislike natto.
Oh my
Which
God.
is true. Terrible.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible.
Oh, no.
I dislike natto. So unlike me, Tomomi enjoys natto.
What is natto, teacher?
It's beans that are fermented and old and disgusting. Now, Tomomi would not describe that like that.
Not.
But it's fermented soybeans.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fermented soybeans. Japanese people love it.
Some people smell it, but
Yeah.
yeah. But I like.
You like it? Okay.
Yeah.
So unlike me, Tomomi enjoys natto. Right? All right. My teacher thinks I should apply for the scholarship. My husband does too. Okay, we have a comma here. Is it similar or different?
Similar.
Similar. So so with a comma, that means we need a conjunction, right?
Yes.
So what could we say here?
But
Just us.
Just as would be without the comma.
and
The similarity.
my teacher
Don't make it
Or
complicated,
just
right?
and
us.
and
Right. My teacher thinks I should apply for a scholarship, and my husband does too. Right. Conjunction and. Now, if you had just as, there would be no comma. Just as would be fine, but you would have no comma, right? So my teacher thinks I should apply for a scholarship just as my husband does. All right. All right. Next one. My car is too old and needs to be replaced. I need a new computer as well. So is it similar or different?
Different.
Similar.
Similar.
Similar, right? My car is old, my computer is old, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what could we say?
but
Similarly.
We have a period, so
Similarly.
similarly, right?
similarly.
Right? My car is too old and needs to be replaced. Similarly, I need a new computer as well. I'm going to send you a practice to do for this because this is a little tricky, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll send you a worksheet to do with these activities in here. All right. Now the next one says David saw the accident. So did Marilyn. Okay. Similar or different?
Similar.
Similar. Right? Similar, right?
Similarly.
Similar. They both saw the accident. So, and we have a comma and so. We've already practiced this, right? What comes with so?
Because.
Under.
And, sure. And so did Marilyn. Remember, whenever you have so or to, and you have two clauses, you want to put that and in there, right? And so did I, and I did too. Okay. Let's see. Microsoft. Apple is a company that was started on the West Coast. Is it similar or different? Do you know your computer companies?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So is it similar or different?
Similar.
Similar.
Similar, right? Microsoft was started in Seattle, and Apple was started up near San Francisco. Okay. All right. So what can we say here?
Like.
Like, exactly. Oops. Like Microsoft, Apple is a company that was started on the West Coast. All right. Cheetahs are very fast. Turtles are extremely slow. Similar or different?
Different.
Different. And we have a full clause here. Cheetahs are, right? We have a subject and a verb. So what can we say?
Also.
Although, whereas, even though, right? Or what? While, although, and whereas. Right? Are clause connectors. All right, the next one. The next one has a comma, and is it similar or different?
Different.
No, different.
Different. We have a good student and a student who can't pass the test. And we have a comma. So what can we use?
However, on the
However,
other
with a
hand.
period, right?
Okay.
But.
But,
But.
right? Remember, however, after a period, but after a comma.
Okay.
Okay. Number 12. I like scary movies.
Even though.
My friend prefers romantic comedies.
Though or even though, right?
On the other
No,
hand.
we have a period here.
On the other hand.
Yeah, we
Or
could
however.
say
Another hand.
however,
On the
or
other.
on the other hand, right? However, or on the other hand.
And another is never what?
Nevertheless.
Nevertheless, I would not use in these direct comparisons because nevertheless always has the idea of a surprise. Right? It's not really a surprise when I like scary movies, my friend likes comedies. It's just different, right? When you use nevertheless, it's always like, wow, I can't believe it. Right? So for example, I studied for 8 hours. Nevertheless, I failed the test. Right?
Okay.
Nevertheless is always like surprising. So I would not use nevertheless in these kind of contrasts. So it doesn't really make sense. However is okay, but nevertheless really is like, this is a big surprise. I can't believe it. Okay. All right. The next one says cell phones, landline phones are not very popular anymore. Everybody knows what it means, landline?
Yes.
That's the
telephone.
old kind of
Like a
phone, right?
home.
The old
Like a
phone
home.
that we had,
okay.
everybody had until 20 years ago, right? All right. So what can we say here? Is it different or is it the same?
Different.
Different, right? Cell phones are very popular. Landline phones are not very popular. So what can we say?
Unlike.
Unlike, right? We have a preposition of contrast. A preposition of contrast, unlike. Yeah, and again, we would not use in spite of or despite in these kind of situations. Because when I use in spite of and despite, it's again a surprise. In spite of the rain, I went to the park, right? All right, 14. Virginia gave up land to create Washington, D.C. The state of Maryland gave up some land for the same purpose. Okay, is it similar or is it different?
Similar.
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 And is it what do we need? A clause connector, preposition? What do we need?
Clause connector.
The
Clause
clause
connector. And what's the clause connector?
Though.
Mm,
Mm,
yeah.
just
Even
as.
though.
Just
While.
as. Right? The clause connector is just as. Just as Virginia gave up some land to create Washington, D.C., the state of Maryland gave up land for the same purpose. Clause connector of similarity. Just as. Okay, number 15. Yasmin needs to find a job. Freddie is looking for a job too. Similar or different?
Similar.
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 So,
Similarly.
right, we can use similarly,
While.
similarly, or likewise, or in the same way. All of those are fine. All right. Nancy lives with her parents. Sylvia has her own apartment. Similar or different?
Different.
Different. So,
While.
While.
while or whereas.
Whereas.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I'm going to save this and send it to you as an example. And then I'm going to send you a practice to do over the weekend. Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
So let me save this for you. Okay. Save it right here. Okay. I'm going to send you that one, and then I'm going to send you another paper to do over the weekend. Okay. All right. Good. So let me stop that for a second. All right. So what are we going to do this weekend? You can practice those contrasts and comparisons, but you also have that practice test that I gave everybody in Schoology. Okay, so I'll send you one through your app. I'll send it through your app, and then I'll send you the other the other one is already there in Schoology. Okay, so you have two things you need to do this weekend. Take the practice test and do this comparison contrast practice.
Teacher, the practice test is in Schoology or
That's right. It's in Schoology in the red folder. Just look
the
in
red folder?
look in the red folder in Schoology, and you'll find the practice test. It'll say practice test level 4, or practice test level 5, practice test level 6, whatever it is.
Okay.
And so you take that this week, and that will get you ready. And then you can let me or Miss Aguirre know if you want to take the final or you want to just stay in the same level. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So we're done. Good.
Okay. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you,
So we
Mr.
have
West.
4 more classes to go. Right?
Okay.
Next week, we'll do more preparation for the final test, okay?
Okay.
We'll do more practice for the final test. And then like I said, I'll give you the final test to do next weekend if you want to. This weekend, the practice test. Next weekend would be the real. So this practice test, you can take 10, 12 times if you want. The final test, you have one opportunity, okay? So you can't say, oh, I got it wrong. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. No. No.
No cheating.
Not cheating. One chance.
Yeah.
One chance.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Everybody happy?
Yeah.
Más o menos good enough, huh?
No, yes. Thank you. Thank you for help.
All right. So we'll talk more next week. We'll do more preparation for the final test next week. And we will be we'll be almost finished, almost out of here. Okay, 2 more weeks. All right, but do think about the summer class and tell Miss Aguirre if you want to take the class, and she'll give you more information about registration. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. West.
Who is going to be a teacher?
Miss Aguirre will be the teacher.
Oh, Miss Aguirre? Okay.
Yeah. So talk to her about it on Monday. She sent a message to everybody this morning. Did you see her message?
Yes.
That about summer school? Yeah. So talk to her about it next week, and then
So,
Hey,
Mr. Webb,
what?
so we have test, right, for this week?
This week is a practice test. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was late this morning. So
Yeah. Let me show you real fast then. Okay, let's see. Jareen, what is your level? Are you 6 or are you 5?
Yeah, maybe 6.
Okay, maybe 6. Okay, so here's level 6, right? Remember, you are the Tigers.
Yeah.
So Tiger, open up your Tiger file, and then go to the red folder, right? Red folder,
Same thing. Mhm.
Spring 2020 testing, and then there's this right here, level 6 practice test 2020.
Mhm.
Okay.
Everybody
Okay.
see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know how many questions are there. Let's see. I think there are 35 questions, maybe. Let me see. I don't remember. I made this a while ago. Let's see. There are oh my goodness, 50 questions. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, 50 questions. Holy cow. All right, so this will be,
How many times?
How long? How
you
long?
can take it as many times as you need. This is practice, remember?
Oh,
Yeah,
Mhm.
so let me make sure that the settings are proper. Let me double check here. Let me see here. Here's my settings. Let's see. Yeah, it says attempt limit unlimited.
oh,
So you have as many opportunities to take it as necessary.
Okay.
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 Set that like that. Okay. Okay, and then, but again, when you submit these tests, it will show you the wrong answers, and you can take it again. So you can keep taking it until you feel comfortable with the information. Yeah, and remember, everybody, just another thing that I should mention. Remember, I gave you at the beginning of the year that checklist, right?
Yes.
So everybody should have that checklist. So go over that checklist too. And because we haven't had a chance to talk about every single thing on the list. So if you have a particular thing you say, I still don't understand this very well, talk to me next week and we can practice some more, right? Remember this checklist?
Yes. Mm.
Yeah, everybody should have it. If you don't have it, it's in your Schoology page, or I can send it to you by text if you want. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, good. So try that practice test over the weekend, and then we'll talk about it some more, and we'll go over any questions you have on it on Tuesday. Okay? So the real test is not this week, but next week.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Good.
Bye, everyone.
All right.
bye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks a lot for
Bye.
Thank
coming.
you.
Have a great
you.
weekend.
Have a good weekend.
And
You too.
we'll talk to you again on Tuesday.